34-year-old man from a Gujarati immigrant family, someone with no long political resume, someone openly socialist, someone Muslim, has just become the mayor of New York City, the financial capital of the modern world, the center of American capitalism, a place where the wealthiest and most influential live, invest, and shape global markets. This is a stunning moment not just for Muslims, but for anyone watching America's political landscape shift in real time. And this moment carries three important lessons for Muslims, and three major geopolitical signals for anyone trying to understand where the United States is headed. To understand what just happened, you need a clear picture of what New York represents. New York isn't just another American city. If New York State were an independent country, its economy, worth over $2.3 trillion, would rank as the world's eighth largest. It hosts the two most influential stock exchanges on Earth, NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange. It is home to the wealthiest individuals, the biggest corporations, and some of the most powerful political lobbies in the world, including the strongest Zionist networks and the most aggressive forms of hyper-capitalist influence. So how did a young socialist Muslim win here? The answer begins with a shift inside America itself, something we haven't seen since World War II. First, America's middle class is deeply frustrated with the establishment. They've realized something. Neither Democrats nor Republicans truly fight for ordinary Americans. Both sides have protected elites, supported endless lobbying, and ignored working families drowning in student debt, unable to afford a home, struggling with medical bills, and watching homelessness rise. They see the border crisis, the drug epidemic, and the cost of living crisis, and they see a government more invested in foreign wars than in its own citizens. That frustration opened the door for someone unconventional. Someone whose family once fled violence in India, spent years in Africa, and eventually immigrated to the United States. Someone whose father became a respected professor at Columbia University and whose mother built a career as a filmmaker. Normally, a person from such a background would never be seen as electable in New York's political machine. Yet voters chose him, not because they loved his every policy, but because they were rejecting the establishment itself. They were saying, "We've had enough." His victory is less about him and more about Americans turning their backs on a system they no longer trust. Second, his win marks a symbolic blow to Zionist political dominance in the U.S. His opponent was openly pro-Israel, backed by elite donors and traditional networks. Yet voters rejected that candidate. Even the New York Times noted that this victory signals weakening support for Israel among everyday Americans. Zionism's old formula, Israel first, America second, is losing ground. The public is tired of seeing their tax dollars fund wars while they struggle to pay rent. Inside the Jewish community itself, large numbers of journalists, activists, and citizens stood with this Muslim candidate. Not because of religion, but because they oppose endless conflict. They oppose occupation. They oppose policies that prioritize foreign wars over the rights and safety of American workers. His election shows that the moral narrative around Palestine has changed. The old political playbook is dying. Third, his victory reflects America moving toward internal conflict, toward a kind of ideological civil war. Not a war with guns tomorrow, but a deep and dangerous division between the middle class and the elite class. The mayor of America's most important city and the president of the United States now stand on two completely opposite ends of the political spectrum. They openly oppose each other. Trump's base despises him. Biden's donor class fears him. He represents everything the elite sees as a threat: socialism, anti-war policy, pro-Palestinian advocacy, and middle-class empowerment. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Even if he wants to fix the housing crisis, reduce debt, expand public services, or end ICE injustices, he will be blocked. Because Congress is controlled by corporate interests, private industries, and political lobbies. That blockage will frustrate his supporters. That frustration will deepen the divide. And historically, that kind of internal divide is exactly what pushes countries towards civil conflict. America is already moving in that direction. Now, what does all of this mean for Muslims? First, his win is symbolically tied to Gaza's struggle. For many around the world, the suffering of Gaza, especially the death of children, triggered a global awakening. Only a few years ago, almost nobody talked about Gaza in mainstream U.S. politics. Today, Gaza's name is central. A candidate who openly said he would arrest Israel's prime minister if he visited New York won. That was unthinkable 5 years ago. Gaza changed the moral compass of millions. Even many American Jews supported him because of his anti-war stance. Their deaths were not meaningless. Their story reshaped global politics. Second, Muslims must understand that politics is negotiation, not purity. Some Muslims immediately accuse any Muslim politician of hypocrisy if he doesn't align with every religious position. But politics in New York is not politics in Kabul or Kuala Lumpur. Every context is different. Expecting a mayor of New York to ban same-sex marriage or outlaw prostitution is unrealistic, irrelevant, and strategically foolish. Those issues were settled long before he arrived. Muslims supporting him are not endorsing every part of his worldview. They are supporting his anti-war stance, his defense of Palestinians, his challenge to hypercapitalism, and his willingness to speak openly about injustice. He is not an imam. He is not a saint. He is a political actor in a complex system. Supporting him is strategic, not theological. Third, his victory is proof of how powerful social media has become. 20 years ago, Muslims could not shape a narrative globally. You needed TV channels, newspapers, corporate backing, and massive funding. Today, 10 skilled YouTubers can shift public opinion in a major city. 10 coordinated creators can influence national elections. Social media broke the monopoly of traditional media, and this campaign proved it. His movement grew through online organizing, community outreach, and thousands of young volunteers who understood the digital battleground better than any old political machine. This is a historic opportunity for Muslims. For the first time, they can tell their own story directly to the public. They can shape global perception without waiting for CNN or Fox News to choose what gets airtime. But most Muslims still underestimate this power. They treat social media as entertainment instead of a political tool. Meanwhile, his campaign used it masterfully, and it helped reshape American politics. In the end, his victory brings crucial insights. It shows that political landscapes can shift. It shows that marginalized voices can rise. And it shows that Muslims, and all ordinary Americans, can influence national conversations if they learn to organize, negotiate, and build their own narrative. The question now is how we use these lessons to build stronger communities, to fight injustice, to challenge destructive foreign policy, and to push society toward fairness, dignity, and a more humane future.